All right, first up we have this piece by Joost Schmidt and Theo Balmer. It is called Spectacles in Construction Still Life. It was created in 1930 in Germany. And the reason I chose to go with image to begin with is because I really felt as though it embodied this idea of bringing together art by the work of the hand, as you mentioned in the lecture. So this very clearly portrays an image of an actual hand. And I think it's interesting because the hand is creating this more organic piece, which is shown as the kind of swirl that's there in the image, but it's just very simplistic, which was kind of the premise during this time. And it was just, down to the basics. So as you can see here, it's just the simple hand holding the simple swirly item, and it's very simplistic, and I think it really does a good job of just showing that during this time creating and learning about art was very important. Alright, next up we have another image by Joost Schmidt. I'm going to butcher this name. It is called Hawk and Gyps Dessau. It was created in 1932 in Germany. Now, the reason I chose to go with this piece in particular was primarily due to the fact that on the right here you see this kind of image of a woman's figure. So although it's just kind of an outline, you can see the form that looks to belong to a female. And I thought that was really important to touch base on because during this time, the Bauhaus actually encouraged women, as you said, to take part in the studies, which was not something that was very typical in prior times. Women weren't really encouraged to go out there and study and be in schools and educate themselves. So I think it's really neat that Bauhaus encouraged that and that women were able to be creative and get knowledge. And I think that's really neat. But above that, I think it's also very cool how on the left you see these kind of geometric shapes, which you mentioned were important during the Bauhaus the school, but also the movement because they use geometries in different ways. So you mentioned that it was just about the basics for this time, and I think it's just very basic. These images here, looks like there's two pieces there and then more of a sphere form. So I think this is a good combination of both the geometries and just the mention of the female being present during this time. Next up, we have this furniture piece by Marcel Breuer. It is titled Upholstered Bentwood Long Chair. I could not locate a year that this chair was created, and also I was reading up that Marcel Breuer was Hungarian born and also lived in the States, so I'm not exactly sure where this chair was created or when, but I did want to mention it because it stood out to me immediately due to its shape. So something that you mentioned in the lecture was when it grows kind of in an organic form. You mentioned it about one of the pieces you showed in the lecture, so I definitely see that present here. So I've never seen a chair like this one presented, so definitely the organic form is very much present here. Everything is very rounded and free-flowing. There's not too many geometries present here at all, but I think that's what really makes this unique. And also, like you mentioned, minimal materials. So this is basically just what it appears like, and I think it's just a very good expression of just being free and just allowing the wood to just be the main focus of the piece and just letting it exist in whichever form the artist, or in this case Marcel Breuer, deemed suitable. And lastly, we have these furniture pieces by Ludwig Miles van der Rohe, titled Two Easy Chair Model Barcelona, created in 1929 in Germany. Now, the reason I wanted to go with this furniture piece was because throughout the lecture I was really captivated by the different looking chairs we were presented. So this one stood out to me in particular due to the fact that the base of the chairs was, very organic in appearance as far as the steel is concerned. So the steel just kind of flows in a way that I hadn't seen a chair ever, honestly. So the very minimum materials are presented here, so just pretty much the steel base here and just the upholstered seats, as you can see, which I think is a good combination of the different arts. So just bringing different types of arts together, which was a big emphasis during the Bauhaus era. So the combination of the free-flowing steel and the upholstered material, which was kind of geometric in shape, as you can see, the geometries, I should say, how there are just various squares throughout the upholstered seat, and I think it's a really good combination of different styles of art presented in one piece, or in a pair of pieces in this instance.